Brian, number one.
Number one, not just the fittest female ever, but making a very strong case for the fittest, human of all time. Tia Claire Toomey. She came onto the scene as very, very unknown. Maybe some people in Australia knew her when she first showed up in 2015, and she, narrowly won the games that year. If not for maybe a scoring decision by the administering company, she would have won the games that year. But her career might have unfolded quite differently had that happened. She came back in 2016, and there's it's well documented, especially in the documentary from that year, the CrossFit Games documentary, that mentally she wasn't sure if her result in 2015 was really indicative of what she could do in this space, and she was still questioning if she'd belonged in the conversation with some of those women. She seemed to overcome that hurdle in the off-season that year. She showed up to 2017. I think it was perfect for her because she had to go against Cara Webb, who was the forerunner in Australia as like the standard and gold bearer and athlete to beat there. They'd had traded some blows at the regional level, but doing it at the games was a different story. And the fact that it ended up being Cara that was pushing her right to the edge in that competition, and the fact that she won it so closely, now she's got a second, a first. And from this point forward, it is basically as dominating as anything can be. Not only has she won the games, 2018, 2019, 2020, she's competed in 5 sanctionals. She's won them all, and her margins of victory continue to get bigger and bigger. I told you that Katrin and Annie are tied for the second most career event wins for women with 13. Yes, she had 13 Tia had 13 event wins alone last season at the games, and now she has 24 total. So she's continuing to just put herself ahead of everyone in every statistical category. And like you mentioned a while ago, Sevan, that is mentally very intimidating for the rest of the athletes too.
How much pressure is on her? We always talk about how much pressure she puts on everyone else. Is this pressure that's put on her, like can she maintain this? I mean, it kind of sucks to go somewhere and everyone know you're going to win, right? Because then the only place you have to go is down, and then maybe people aren't even as impressed by your victory.
Yeah, I mean, in the build up to the games this year, obviously it's very fun on the men's side because Fraser's retired, so we can talk about all these different guys who have a unique opportunity to win the games. And on the women's side, basically, when anyone's asked me, I'm like, okay, well, I think we should basically not talk about Tia until the games. And then let's talk about what she's doing there. Is she continuing to dominate? Is she dominating by more? Has the field caught up to her? Is she sliding back? And then after the fact, there's plenty to talk about. But yeah, because it's I think, I can't remember which one of you guys said it, it's like almost a foregone conclusion. Like if she shows up, she's going to win because she has for so long. That's a great question of how that affects her and her coach and her team's preparation. How do you handle that? Just like knowing that the whole world expects this of you.
I'm hoping she blocks it all out, because we shouldn't take anything away from her. It's not like people wouldn't like give 5 years of their life to beat her. I mean, people want to beat her. There's no question.
Oh yeah, all the girls that are competing there that have, podium finishes, top 5, top 10 performances, and have been to the games 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times before, they'll certainly feel like they have the experience and the fitness and the capacity to win the CrossFit Games. But you have to go through this person to do it. And so far, since 2016, no one's been able to stand in her way.
And you know what is good? The fact that she is still doing it, and this is the women who are still competing should appreciate this. If you beat Tia, that will be amazing, and it will catapult you. Whereas opposed to whoever wins the CrossFit Games this year in the men's division is going to have a little bit of that shadow on them. Everyone's going to say, yeah, that was the first year Matt retired. So as much as you might hate her, the fact that she's in there and so dominant, it also is a tremendous opportunity to really catapult yourself and really state claim that you are the best ever, even with one win. As long as she doesn't shit the bed or something, like drink some pond water in Madison and shit herself the rest of the week.
Well, that's always the thing with CrossFit is you get one chance at the games. It's one weekend, and if you happen to be sick, if you happen to tweak an ankle early in the competition, food poisoning, who knows what it could be. Like all those little things could offset the whole weekend. But despite any of that, look at the success she's had. James, he actually asked me a question earlier in the week. He's like, what if Mallory O'Brien beat Tia this year? How high up on your rankings would she jump? And I didn't really know how to handle that, because one of the things that I first looked at when I was making this list is everyone who I'm including here has been to the games at least 3 times. If you've only got 1 appearance, 2 appearances, I didn't even consider you for this list.
Damn.
Hobart's stunned. He's either judging us or he's stunned at how incredible the two of us are.
No, I'm just thinking about this. I'm still thinking about the Annie Katrin thing, but I definitely think Tia's number 1. I'm super biased toward Tia and Shane. I think they're awesome. I think her dominance, poise, demeanor in the sport is like unparalleled. I mean, she's as physically dominant comparatively as Matt is, but like energy she brings into the games is amazing. I'm a huge Tia fan, so super biased here. She's 1+.
The good thing is, Hobart, if you are struggling with the placement of Annie and Katrin, that all of these girls are in the games this year. So when we review this list after the games, those 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place, Annie, Katrin, Cara, there could be some movement there.
Yeah, I just think Katrin has a much better games. I feel like Brian just has like a soft spot for like CrossFit Legacy, but I think just Katrin's overall finishes at the games edge her out into that, and she's beat Tia twice, which Annie hasn't done. Edge her into that second place spot, but
no, I mean if you look at the average finishes at the games over Annie's career, which is 10. Well, I don't count the year that she withdrew from the games, but for the 9 times she finished the competition, her average finish at the games is 5.5. And if you look at Katrin's, it's 8.75. But if you discount the first 2 years that she competed, then it's much better than Annie's. Yes. So I can see where you can make that argument. And in the years that Annie and Katrin have competed against each other, especially once after Katrin's first 2 years, Katrin's beat her a bunch of times, sometimes by small margins. But Annie did beat her in 2017 and that field was, to me, that was the best women's competition of all time, the 2017 games. Those finishes went Tia, Cara, Annie, Sarah, Katrin. So that was a pretty impressive list. And then several other athletes were in the top 10 that you'll recognize. Tennille Berline is an outlier, but then Kristen Holt, Jamie Green, Sam Briggs, Carrie Pierce, Alessandra Pacelli. So that was a really impressive year, and Annie was able to do that, to beat Katrin that year. I think Katrin, she's still pretty young too. I think she's 28, and she's got the potential to certainly overtake Annie on this list, but I didn't feel comfortable making the move yet.
What do you think, Hobart? Did he convince you? Did he slap the
No.
shit out of you? No. Okay.
he did. He beat me with that Q-tip again, but
Okay.
The other thing is,
He's
I
not
don't think-
done.
No, it's that they both have 2 titles, obviously, and while Katrin's did come against Tia, to me there was a little bit of, I just don't like that decision by CrossFit in 2015. It seemed to me to be against their MO based on the prior history at that time in that particular event, and Annie's win to me are completely untainted. Like there's nothing that questions the fact that she won those 2 years.
that's a better argument.
And
I don't want to give that to him right now, but
And look at the year Annie didn't win her first year at the CrossFit Games. It was all around ring muscle ups. It was the Rich Froning, Matt Fraser phenomenon. They collapsed on one event. That if she would have had just a little bit of practice on, maybe she would have won. How close was she to?
But that would you could use that same argument for the pegboard thing related to Katrin. I don't think that's like.
But
I think
Katrin's, it's how she dealt with it. I think is that Brian's saying not to blame her, but how CrossFit allowed her to deal with it.
Okay.
I'm glad that you brought that up, though, James. It is a good conversation. I thought those were the clear top 3. Well, 1 and then 2 and 3 was pretty obvious, but like I said, I wasn't ready to move Katrin ahead of Annie yet. If Katrin podiums this year and Annie finishes, lower than that, then maybe I would.
Is Tia a better CrossFit athlete than Matt?
Fraser?
Yes.
I don't. Ask me that when Tia retires. I don't know. I don't know how to answer it yet.
Okay.
It's you just choose one of the names, Brian. You use either. I'll help you. You say either Matt or Tia, and we'll know what you mean by that.
Yeah, I can't do that though. I need to be able to give you a solid reason, and I don't feel like I've investigated enough to do it yet.
Oh, what do you?
Sevan,
What
give me what's your response?
I think the
Matt or Tia? That's how you do it. Matt or Tia?
statistically, it's Matt. In my heart, it's Tia. Tia is just, it's crazy. I don't even like to talk about how good she is because I feel bad, like it takes away from her future wins, or it puts too much pressure on her. But she's something else. And then of course, man, I don't know. I'm not as smart as Brian, but there's also that last event that Matt Fraser did for the entire CrossFit world. The one where you talked about, Hobart, where he said, should I turn it on now or whatever. I mean, that one event, what he showed the world, I mean, he didn't have to do that, and he still crushed. Like, yeah, I'm gonna say Tia, but I'm open to being wrong. If she doesn't win this year, it's Matt.
Yeah, that's how I feel.